Welcome back to the Chris Rocket Podcast. I am Chris Rocket, and what a week, man! What a week of sports. First off, right off the bat, let's congratulate the Houston Astros on their first ever World Series. I'm a diehard Texas Rangers fan, but as I stated last episode, man, I'm kind of rooting for both teams for different reasons. Houston Texans. One thing about us Texans, man, we root for, we root for Texas, period, man, and just congratulations to them. I always, it's almost kind of like how I felt about the Kansas City Royals. You got fans of these teams where they get close, or they used to be historically bad. When the Astros came over from the National League, they were horrible, and and this is why I like baseball, man. You go from 100-loss team, and then all of a sudden, look where you at. You win in the World Series. Of course, my Texas Rangers were like that, struggling in the 90s, getting to the playoffs, getting out in the first round, and then going to 2 straight World Series. Like, I kind of know the feeling. Of course, it would be better if we won one, but considering where we were and the struggle it took to get there, I'll take a World Series appearance. But, congratulations to the Houston Astros. They won Game 7, 5-1. And it was just a dominating performance. And, shout out to you, Darvish. Shout out to the Los Angeles Dodgers on a very good series. They fought, and, that team is on the up and up. But, the Astros, man, so many young pieces over there. The sky's the limit for a team like that. The real highlight of the night, shout out to Carlos Correa, man. Proposed to his girlfriend right after the World Series win. You couldn't ask for a more perfect night. Me, I kind of, people think I'm a player, but, I like, things like that, man. You proposing to your girlfriend, you committing yourself for life. That's pretty dope to me, man. Shout out to Carlos Correa, his fiance now. Salute to them. But very great World Series. I enjoyed it. I watched half of Game 6 and all of Game 7. Like, it was everything that I expected out of that World Series. Now the Rockets won 2 championships. You got the Astros win the championship. Now it's all about the Texans. Now, if you look at that city now, they got all their teams are doing well. The Rockets, you got Chris Paul and James Harden. Astros win the championship, and the Houston Texans are balling. You feel me? So, shout out to that city despite all the things that went through with the Hurricane Harvey, all the flooding and all that, man. I think this puts the cap on every bad thing they went through over there. Of course, it's still a work in progress over there, but, it's nice to see stuff like this happen, for a city that went through all that, adversity with everything that went on this past summer. But, once again, Houston Astros won their first World Series. Now, my fucking Rangers got to win one next year. And, this is going to be a very interesting winter for us. We need to shore up our bullpen. We need to find a closer instead of just putting people there. So, we're trying to get like the Astros. In the NFL, trade deadline came and went. And it went bananas. It went, like, we knew there were fucking rumblings of this guy going and that guy going, but that's every year. You hear about, well, they're thinking about trading this guy. No, this shit actually went down, man. 4 major trades that I've counted. 4 major trades went down. 1 was nullified due to a failed physical. We're going to talk about that right off the bat. Dwayne Brown, left tackle Dwayne Brown, who was holding out all the way up until last week against the Seahawks. Left tackle for the Houston Texans. He was traded to Seattle Seahawks for cornerback Jeremy Lane. When you looked at that trade, everybody got what they wanted. Seattle, they showed up that offensive line. They showed up that left tackle. They thought they had it. Unfortunately, Jeremy Lane failed his physical, thus nullifying the trade, which is unfortunate. Then the other ones, they just surprised the hell out of me. Usually, like when the NBA, when the trade deadline comes and goes, a lot of these aren't a surprise. Even though like this past offseason, We didn't know Melo was going to Houston. We knew he was going to get traded. We didn't know where he was going. We just know he was leaving. We knew Paul George was leaving. We didn't know where. These guys that were traded in the NFL, we had no fucking clue that they were going. Jimmy Garoppolo traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a second-round pick. And then it really, from everything we knew about the San Francisco 49ers plan, go after Kirk Cousins in the offseason. Ride this season out, go get Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins and Kyle Shanahan will go hand in hand. Mike Shanahan has expressed many times that he wanted Kirk Cousins over Robert Griffin III. Kyle Shanahan, you know, that's his son. They work closely with each other, you know. So he's gonna want to work with Kirk Cousins. So this Jimmy Garoppolo trade really kind of throws a lot of shit off. And so from that perspective, it's a surprise. It doesn't surprise me that the 49ers went after a quarterback. It just surprised me that knowing that they kind of wanted to go get Kirk Cousins, they go and get a guy like Garoppolo, who a lot of people view as the future for a lot of teams. And you know, Bill Belichick holding on to him for so long, everybody thought that when Brady gone, Garoppolo steps in, you know. And so when this trade went down, everybody just went nuts, including the Cleveland Browns. And we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns right after it. I really should have talked about this Garoppolo trade. All right, so let me cut this Garoppolo. I'm going to come back to Garoppolo right quick because it kind of goes together with what I want to say about the Browns at the tail end of this. All right, so Jay Ajayi was traded, and this shocked the hell out of me as well, because the Dolphins, you look at that squad and you kind of think to yourself, you know, if they get one piece here, then they're fine, because they're not a bad team. They're like right there. They just need to pick it up just a little bit, and they're a wild card team. And now they trade Jay Ajayi to who else? The fucking Philadelphia Eagles, who don't need shit. They get a running back on that great offensive line. Yes, they lost Jason Peters, but you know, now you bring in Jay Ajayi to go with LeGarrette Blount, to go with Smallwood. You now have a very potent running back core. You have everything you need. Jay Ajayi, he's a combination of speed and power. LeGarrette Blount is your power back. Smallwood is your speed back. Darren Sproles is hurt for the rest of the season. But, like, you have your dynamics at wide receiver. You have just what you need at wide receiver. This offense for the Eagles is really scary. So much scary that as a Cowboys fan, I'm aiming at the wild card. At this point right now, I'm aiming for wild card, because there's no way in the world that we're going to catch up to them with all the firepower that they have. So the Eagles, they trade Jay Ajayi for a 4th-round pick. They didn't even have to give up much. And then they have control of him next year. So, great trade for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the one that surprised me the most, Kelvin Benjamin traded to the Buffalo Bills. I, for the life of me, do not understand this trade. Kelvin Benjamin, he has 1 more year and then a 5th-year option. So Buffalo has, you know, basically 2 more years of control. And, you know, looking at that offense for Carolina, you kind of got to think to yourself, are they giving up? Is that it for them? Because Devin Funchess is nowhere close to Kelvin Benjamin. Same size, same speed, you know, runs just about as sloppy routes as each other. No offense to Kelvin Benjamin. With the route running that he does, he still has hella hands. He can go up and get the ball. He's physical. You know, Des Bryant is not the strongest of route runners. But you draft pretty much the only threat you have, a wide receiver. You trade him away. I don't get it. I want somebody to explain that to me. And of course, Cam didn't like it. Thomas Davis didn't like it. Captain Munnerlyn didn't like it. A lot of people on that team did not like the trade. And I this is a head scratcher. I don't know. This shit is, I don't know. But back to the Jimmy Garoppolo. All right, as it relates to the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, I'm sniffing. It's kind of cold in here. I like my house cold. But the Cleveland Browns during draft time, they offered a second-round pick and more. I don't know what the more was, but they offered a second and a couple more for Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Patriots was like, nah. So the trade deadline gets here, and then I hear that they didn't even call about Garoppolo. And then to come to find out that Garoppolo, he went for just a number 2. Like, that's crazy. And, the Browns over there like, how the hell do we drop the ball on that, man? And so, yeah, that kind of came and went. And then the trade that kind of went down but never went down but should have went down but didn't. The Bengals and the Browns were dealing with A.J. McCarron. They agreed to a deal. From what I'm reading and from what I heard, the Bengals accepted the trade, filed it with the NFL, and then come to find out the Browns didn't file with the NFL. The trade was agreed on. It was a second and a third. Keep in mind, Jimmy Garoppolo went for a second. A.J. McCarron, who Hugh Jackson loves A.J. McCarron. They agreed a second and a third for A.J. McCarron. Bengals did their paperwork, Browns didn't. And I'm just thinking to myself, how the fuck does this happen? I mean, the Browns, they already get blasted for what they are. Now you add this. Now you have, at the time, I'm talking about at the time when we first heard this, the Browns didn't even submit their paperwork. Like, do the Browns know how to make a trade? Well, obviously, they traded for Brock Osweiler, so we kind of know that. So you hear this, and for me, this is just me. Of course, this made for good talk radio. I knew my podcast was going to be jumping when I heard this shit. But I'm thinking to myself, when you hear something so crazy like this, you got to figure out what really going on behind the scenes. So, as the day went on, and I immediately cut it on 92.3 The Fan, which is their flagship station for the Cleveland Browns. And then you hear Bull and Fox. First of all, here's the reaction to Bull and Fox right here. I got a little snippet from the show. This is what they said.
Last night about 8:30-ish p.m.
Yeah. Browns did not. Jimmy Garoppolo got traded.
For Jimmy Garoppolo. He gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a second-round pick.
Right. Then overnight and into the morning, we see Mike Silver's
tweets
talking about how Hugh Jackson wanted Jimmy Garoppolo. The Browns didn't give up. They wanted Jared Goff. We see Hugh Jackson's daughter talking about narratives about how much power Hugh Jackson has. We see Benjamin Albright tweet about that the Browns front office went home at 5 o'clock. I know you've heard something different, so that may not be true. He also said that the coaching staff was furious that they didn't trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Then today, other players get traded. Browns are not in the mix at all. And then at 3:55 today, according to Adam Schefter, the Browns and Bengals completed a trade that would have sent A.J. McCarron to the Browns. What the Bengals would have gotten in return, we do not know. Apparently the Bengals called it in, and the Browns did not. Why that happened, we do not know. Now, even though, Dustin, I know some people, I'm getting a couple people like screaming at me. I had to block a couple people. There's people saying, "Oh, you're blocking me because I disagree." No, I block when you take personal attacks at me. Then I block you. But I got a couple people calling me an idiot because they say, "Well, you don't. You're saying one person saying you guys are saying A.J. McCarron's great. He's not. We never said that. point is, I don't think A.J. McCarron is very good, but I'm not a general manager. You don't think A.J. McCarron's very good, but you're not a general manager. If the Browns thought he was good and wanted to trade for him and made a trade, then I'm going to rip them for not getting it done, even if I didn't like McCarron, because they wanted him and they failed to do the simple mechanics of getting a trade completed.
It's baffling.
They are clueless. It doesn't matter if we like McCarron or not. I don't think he's great, and maybe they were saved from themselves, Dustin. But if they were excited to get him, if they wanted A.J. McCarron, then make sure you call it in. What the hell are they doing there? They are just lost. It is. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't think every day. It's like, is this bottom? Is this rock bottom? Is this somebody called today? Is this rock bottom? And then this happens now. It's not about liking A.J. McCarron or not. It's about they liked him, they made a trade for him, and they didn't get the mechanic. When everybody else knows how to do it, they couldn't get it done. Clueless.
I'm just baffled, by a couple things here, Bull.
Here we go. Another update from Adam Schefter.
Ripe sakes.
Another update from Adam Schefter.
How bad is this one?
Browns disputed proposed A.J. McCarron trade to NFL, arguing it should be allowed per source. NFL declined, no trade officially, per source.
What do you mean they disputed? After the deadline, they tried.
Yeah, I'm reading it as they think it should have went through. Still.
Right. They think it should have. They're angry because they think. Why wouldn't the league just put it through? Was anybody going to complain?
Then here's this makes the Browns look even worse. You know why?
Why?
Because it's not like the Browns at the last second pulled out.
Right.
They still wanted the deal done. It's not like they didn't get cold feet.
Right.
It's not the owner nixed the deal.
Yeah.
They still wanted the deal.
They blew the mechanics of it. The technical, the part that's supposed to be easy. Call it into the league. And now the Browns are fighting with the league because they thought they made the deal. What an absolute joke this franchise is. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry that we're kind of laughing about this because I know there's a lot of people hurting. I know there's a lot of fans that love this team and just want to see them win. But what a disaster. I mean, what a bunch of clowns running this team. This is crazy. Whether you like A.J. McCarron or not, it doesn't matter. They liked him. They made a trade for him. The Bengals called it in on time. The Browns didn't. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying called it in, Dustin. I don't know if it's called it in. I don't know if you're going to send an email.
What, they fax it in like Gil Brandt?
Yeah, right.
Love Gil Brandt.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the technical aspects of it. Whatever it is, the Browns blew it.
What do you think's going through Jimmy Haslam's mind?
Oh my God, this might be the final straw.
How do you not get it in?
They made a trade, and it did. They screwed it up.
Yeah, so obviously they were upset, as they should. And one thing people don't know, Bull is actually a Bengals. He's a Bengals fan, from what I've heard. He is. So he kind of knows how things are going on over there. And so, as the day went on, I started hearing that there were people who wanted that trade to go down and people who didn't. So it was either sabotage or someone purposely did not submit that paperwork to the NFL for that trade to be done. And now you have to think to yourself, and I was going to post this, but I just kind of thought, let me just put this on the podcast. When you're dealing with three different positions, as an owner, is it really worth having three positions and three people? Is it worth it? If you look at, as I get comfortable, when you think about the certain teams that have three positions with two people, theoretically, the New England Patriots, Mr. Kraft, Mr. Belichick, they've been working together for years. Bill Belichick is obviously a guy that has his own mind, does what he feels like is the best thing to do, and he does it. Mr. Kraft, he just kind of sits back, lets him run the show. 5 Super Bowls. Pretty successful. And then you have the other way around. You have a guy like Jerry Jones, who is a general manager and the owner. Now, say what you want about how he handled things with Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. Say what you want about that. I think it's valid. So, coupling with the success in the 90s and the stability of today, he hires a guy who, number one, played for him. So, they already have an understanding already. They already have a certain understanding. When Jerry lets Jason do his job. Also, Jason understands Jerry's personality. So, Jason knows when to submit and Jason knows when to step in. So and there are plenty other examples. And there are also good examples of 3, 3 guys, 3 positions. San Antonio is a great example. R.C. Buford, Greg Popovich, ownership out there. They've been successful for 20 years. But in the NFL, when you're dealing with a franchise such as the Cleveland Browns, and they always had this problem where you have the ownership, and I don't even know the process of doing that shit. Like, if you're an owner, do you get your GM to hire the coach, or you as an owner, you pick a coach you like, and then off the coach, do you go general manager? Now, of course, for the people that know football, everybody knows it's from the top down. But when you have the general manager and the coach going against the owner, that's not good. That's what's happening in Cleveland. The general manager and the coach, they get along just fine. Is that the owner does not like what the general manager is doing. Okay, Mr. Owner, why did you hire the general manager? If there's such a conflict of interest in regards to how a general manager's job is done, because I guess one of the reasons why was, and it kind of makes perfect sense if you're Jimmy Haslam. Well, Jimmy Haslam is the general manager. Sashi Brown, who's the owner. You trade what would have been Deshaun Watson and or Mitch Trubisky. You accumulate all those picks just to get AJ McCarron. Think about that. So, from an owner's perspective, you're going to be the laughing stock. Like, all the pieces that they took out of those 2 potential quarterbacks that they could have had, they end up with AJ McCarron. And of course, from the general manager and the coach's perspective, they're thinking like, I need a guy that knows my offense already. But then again, you drafted Deshaun Kaiser. Let the guy grow, man. You yanked him early. His confidence is, I don't know what level it is. You keep playing with this guy's mindset, man. He's probably going to get ruined forever if he's not already. So, the situation in Cleveland is pretty much interesting. It's an interesting thought. And, people think it's dysfunction. I just feel like, maybe it's time to blow it up again. And just start from scratch again. And guess what? With a young team like that, they have great pieces. They drafted well, despite the people they passed on. I think they drafted well. I said probably a B+. I say they did a B+ job with what they got. And now you have instability in the front office. What does that do to your players? and knocks him down a little bit. I don't get it. Coming up in the Chris Rocket podcast, we're going to talk about an eventful NBA week, including, is there trouble in Cleveland? You'll be listening to the Chris Rocket podcast.
Hi, I'm Sue Murray, and I want to be your next governor. I know how to lead from the front. I used to be a school teacher. I know what's best for San Andreas. Many of our leaders aren't doing their homework or studying like they should. You're not living up to your full potential. I know how to use third-grade academic terms and talk down to a room of hyperactive, immature morons to get what I want. I can get things done. I'll make sure the 1% looks after the rest of us like they should. That you get what you deserve from people that work hard. Vote for me for governor.
This is Weasel News.
Los Santos traffic is so bad that one woman carpools with a dead body. What will it take for you to use public transit?
Transit News.
When police pulled over a car on the Del Perro freeway, they discovered a decomposing body in the passenger seat, which turned out to be the woman's dead husband. One witness on the scene told reporters,
"I looked over and the car was full of flies."
The woman said she had every intention of burying the body soon, but she wanted a last few days in the carpool lane.
The Los Santos Transportation Authority announced a new campaign to encourage people to take public transit.
We know many of you feel that only losers take the bus or train in this town, and in many ways that's true. But what will it take for you to leave your car at home and take the bus? What do you want? On-time arrivals? Regular service? Strippers on the buses? Well, we're not doing any of that.
The Transit Authority promised a new TV commercial that will turn things around.
This was Weasel News.
Welcome back to the Chris Rocket podcast. Before I get into the NBA, man, we got some breaking news out of Houston, and as the details arrive, well, as we speak, according to Adam Schefter, wow, Deshaun Watson did indeed tear his ACL in a non-contact injury in practice today. Wow. Deshaun Watson now is out for the season. Like, that sucks on all levels, man. Wow. Just the night after winning the World Series, and, last segment I'm talking about good things happening to that city, and Deshaun Watson goes down for the season, man. Yo, like I feel for that team. Like, the Texans, they never catch a break, man. When J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless went down, Deshaun Watson picked this game up. Now, I'm eating crow because I didn't think Deshaun Watson was going to be this good. I didn't think he was going to be this accurate. You know what I'm saying? He was like a 58% completion percentage guy in college, but the guy, 19 touchdown passes in 7 games. You hate for this thing to happen. You hate for this to happen to anybody. But, yo, man, the Texans, they just can't seem to, catch a break, man. So, hopefully the Texans, they can recover and, get to the playoffs and do well. But this right here is a big blow. And 2 or 3 days after the trade deadline, that's gotta really suck, because they probably would have done something. Or probably signed Brian Hoyer. I mean, that would have made a big difference. But Tom Savage, he's a very capable guy. So Tom Savage knows the offense. So, and he's a pretty decent quarterback. So he can ride the ship. But yeah, this is a definitely big blow to the Houston Texans. So to the NBA, very interesting week. I kind of kept tabs on what everybody did throughout the week, and like, there has to be trouble going on in Cleveland. I don't know what's going on in that city, for different things that happen. But let me do a rundown of all the things that went down this past week. Blake Griffin hitting the game-winning 3 last Thursday. Cousins returning to Sacramento. He had a 40-20 game. Orlando ended up beating the San Antonio Spurs by 27. Now, of course, they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. But, you know, the Spurs started out 4-0 without Kawhi Leonard. But Orlando has been playing good basketball. You have the Knicks beating Cleveland by 19 points. You have the Pelicans beating Cleveland by 22. You have Orlando beating New Orleans by 16. You have Philadelphia beating Houston. You have Oklahoma City beating Chicago by 32. In that game, Chicago had 69 points. Then you had TJ Warren dropping 40. Chris Middleton dropping 43. And Cleveland loses again. And on top of that, Tristan Thompson is out at least a month with a calf injury. Like, what is going on in Cleveland? Right now, Boston's looking good after that trade because Boston has won 5 in a row. Cleveland lost 5 in a row. And, you know, some people be like, you know, what if they lost by 3 here, 5 there, you know, 7 here, 1 there, you know, 10 here, 3 there. You'd be like, yeah, it's just unfortunate events. But you're talking about losing by 17, 22. We're talking about losing by more than 10 points. Something's definitely going on over there. And, you know, the way that team is constructed, nobody knows why. And of course, you know, the coach comes out saying, we're not having fun playing together. Like, how the fuck is that even possible? Like, you're deep now. You have no excuses on, like, you know, minutes. You have no excuses on that. Well, except the front court. You have an excuse there. But you got Channing Frye. Play Channing Frye. LeBron can't complain about minutes. You know, Jay Crowder could play the 3. Kyle Korver could play the 3. JR, Iman Sharper, they wings. They could play the 3. But LeBron has to be on the floor at all times. Then why the hell did you trade Kyrie Irving then? What is Dwayne Wade there for? What is Derrick Rose there for? You got other scorers. Throw it down in the post to Kevin Love. Slow the game down. I've never heard so many people bitch with the best player on the planet on the team. Did you ever hear Kobe Bryant's team or any teammates other than Dwight Howard, because he's a crybaby, whether they were winning or losing, did you hear any of his teammates cry about anything? If you did, go back and find me the clip. That team knew how to adjust when Kobe was off the floor. The 2 or 3 minutes he didn't play. Because the nigga played like 40-something minutes every night. You know, of course, you know, the tail end of his career, you know, he played less and less minutes. But we're talking, LeBron is he's still in his prime, 32 years old, 33 years old. When Kobe was 32, 33 years old, he was playing 40-something minutes a game, man. Did you hear any of his teammates bitch and moan about anything? If you did, go find me the clip. My Mavericks, they are 1-8, the worst record in the NBA. And I'm sitting here, and I'm fine with that. Not that I want them to tank, but there's a difference between giving up and giving your all and falling short. Now, we lost by more than 10 points in a few games. More than a few games. But these are things that can be fixed. We started, what did we start? We started like, 4-20 something last year. and ended up with the top record after the All-Star break. Not the top record, but what was it, like in the top 6 or 7 records after the All-Star break. Once we get it going, and then we bring in another piece, because Noel's not going to be here. Nor do I want him here. Not that I don't like him. It's just that I think he knows he's out the door. So why not? Why keep him? You know. So, and I know Dirk. You know, just seeing how he plays, he's a defensive liability. Of course, I knew that, but you know, seeing him play defense is kind of like, damn, man. I really have to mentally be prepared to be without him. Like, for real. So, like, for my Dallas Mavericks, man, we have the worst record. And then you look at the Eastern Conference, man. I predict Indiana to make the playoffs, but that team is playing really good basketball. Orlando is playing really good basketball. Brooklyn, scrappy team, they're playing good basketball in comparison to what everybody conceived them, including myself. They're playing good basketball. Philly is playing good basketball. Of course, everybody expected that, but nobody expected them to do that without Markelle Fultz. But then you got to kind of throw in the part where we haven't seen Ben Simmons play. So we would have saw both of them, you know, at the same time. So the Eastern Conference is looking very entertaining. The Western Conference is as advertised. The Sacramento Kings is balling, you know. So, like, very eventful week, and I saw a little small update on the Eric Bledsoe situation. It seemed to me that the Suns and the Pistons are in talks for Reggie Jackson. And so the Suns don't want to take on Reggie Jackson. And it makes sense because Eric Bledsoe and Reggie Jackson are pretty much the same guy. So they're looking for a third team to kind of mosey on in there with it. And I got this information like late last night, early this morning. My Wi-Fi is down. Not that that's an excuse, but you know, it's something to kind of think about. But you know, that's gonna be a very interesting situation. Like, you think of where can Eric Bledsoe impact and propel that team forward. Like, you look around, and at first, you know, Orlando, you might want to leave Orlando alone. Orlando's balling, you know, for now. It's kind of like, if I'm Orlando, I'm seeing how this goes. I mean, I'm still answering the phone, but I'll be like, hey, let me call you back in a couple days type shit. You know, never know. Somebody might turn an ankle. Somebody might, you never know. You know, injuries happen, but you keep the lines open. But I'm looking around the league. Who really wants to trade for Bledsoe now? Other than the Knicks, obviously. You know, you take Bledsoe on the Knicks. Well, it looks like, well, if you bring the Knicks in that three-way trade with the Detroit Pistons, I think that'll work. So, to me, the only team is the Knicks. The Knicks take on Reggie Jackson. I got my neighbors outside, but the Knicks, Pistons, and and Suns. I think that'd be a perfect trio. And like I said, the Knicks, they need another Joakim Noah, because I think the Suns have the cap to do that. Yeah, I think they got enough cap to do that. But of course, they probably gonna shed their resources out for that. But you retain a guy like Hernan Gomez or Kuzmiskis, and you beefed up your front court a little bit more. Now, of course, if I'm Detroit, I'm gonna want to retain a guard. So why not retain a guy like Courtney Lee? You move Avery Bradley to the point guard position. Now you have clamps. You got guys that can clamp on defense at the point guard and the shooting guard, and they can shoot the three. I think that'd be a perfect trade. Everybody wins. Pistons get Courtney Lee, Suns get Kuzmiskis or Hernan Gomez, however you see fit. But I think with the way the trade works, if you're dishing out, or this is probably in regards to team that's over the cap, if your outgoing salary, your incoming salary has to be within 10%. I don't know. But I think if you're over the cap, that applies. But I will look that up. But I think New York should be that third team in the trade. We shall see though. I also want to implement, every week, because in the NBA, the NFL, I do my reactions and my predictions. I was like, why not do that for the NBA? Since we're doing NBA picks as well. As I make my way to the computer, I'm at my desk, and so far, the Wednesday game has come and gone. Doing well so far. I'm 86, just below that 60% mark. I did go 2-0 yesterday. Tonight we got the national TV games on TNT. We got the Golden State at the Spurs. We got the Lakers at the Blazers. I got Golden State and the Portland Trail Blazers in tonight's game. Of course, Golden State, as long as the Spurs don't have Kawhi Leonard, I'm going to go with the much more complete team. Golden State is the complete team. I'm going to go with Golden State. The Lakers and Portland, you have two inconsistent teams. To me, I'm going to go with the more predictably sound, very solid team. The Lakers, they look really, really good at times. And then other games, they look very, very careless. Please excuse the neighbors. They're right outside my damn door for some reason. Literally outside my door. But yeah, literally outside my door. But I picked those two people to win. Friday, you have the Cavaliers at the Washington Wizards. I had the Cavs, but now with this Tristan Thompson injury, I might have to switch that. No, I'm gonna keep it the way it is. I'm a guy that goes with his first mind, so I'm gonna keep that Cavaliers pick. And then you have Boston at Oklahoma City. Later on that night, I got Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma has figured it out. Even though Boston's been playing really good basketball, Kyrie Irving has really embraced. He's really learned how to play with his teammates. He's dishing it. He's being aggressive. He's doing all the right plays. I like what he's doing, and everything is following. They following suit over there. But I pick Oklahoma City because, at first it's like, okay, I'm gonna show you everything that we got. Yeah, you can't stop him. Work, you can't stop him. He worked, you can't stop him. What they did was Russell Westbrook. Everybody's playing through Russell Westbrook. They're screening, they're doing all the good things, and then they're spotting up. They're really good spot up shooters. Carmelo, to me, if you're gonna do any kind of off the dribble shit, he's the best shooter. Paul George, he's the better slasher. Of course, Russell Westbrook, he's the best slasher of all of them. But Paul George, he's doing all the ISO, going to the hole, He's also spotting up as well. When he's open, I'll take that shot. But dribbling and fucking pulling up from the 3 wing, I don't like that. But when he's spotting up, I'll take that shot. You know, he's not gonna cut to the hole. He's not gonna do all that stuff. Melo, he can do it in the post. He can dribble, spot up. That little thing he does where he kind of does a little triple threat with the ball behind his head, and does that one dribble with the hesitation with his shoulder and pull up. That's what he does, and they're implementing everything that they're good at, and they're winning. They're winning. And these games in the beginning, it's going to pay out in the end. And that's why I pick Oklahoma City. Even though Boston's going to give them a run for their money, I got Oklahoma City. My overall record, like I said, 8-6. I'm at 57%. Let's hope he keeps it going. Right now, the leader is Punch at a 12-2 start, man. Right behind him is Nisha and Roy and Z with 11-3 record. And then right behind them, you have Rogers, Tony, and Baez with a 10-4 record. So everybody's starting out pretty good. Looks like I'm second to last. Yep, I'm second to last, but I'm fine with that, you know. And one more thing I would like to implement when I do predictions. I've done this 50-point fantasy basketball challenge. I did a list of guys, as you can see there. A list of guys that you feel in the games this week, the games of the NBA picks, who will have 50 points, 50 fantasy points, whether it's FanDuel or DraftKings. Who will have 50 fantasy points? I picked Wednesday DeAndre Jordan. And few of the picks crew chimed in. Kill, he predicted Wednesday's Clint Capella. Roy said Friday's LeBron James. Matt initially said Wednesday's Kristaps Porzingis, but switched it. I forgot where he switched it to, but I have that up. He switched it, so he's no longer going with Kristaps Porzingis, but I will write that down, and I will tell you who you went with momentarily. Z went with Wednesday Austin Rivers, and Tony went with Friday John Wall. And I think Nisha chimed in, but I would need that momentarily as well. All right, so I got him. Nisha went with Friday's John Wall, and Matt went with Thursday's Damian Lillard. So they're going with Matt's going with Thursday's Damian Lillard, and Nisha's going with Friday's John Wall. Of course, as we sit here today, DeAndre Jordan was nowhere close, nowhere close to it. Nor did Clint Capella, but definitely interested. Nobody's there so far, but this is a really good challenge. Chris Middleton made it, T.J. Warren made it, Bradley Beal made it. So very unpredictable thing, and I think this is a really good challenge. I would try to do this every week and get as many people involved in it as I can. But of course, I will always do it, and we're gonna see how many times I select the right guy to be, over 50 fantasy points with the limited players that I have at my disposal. And I decided to pick the games involving the games that we pick because, you don't want to do the whole entire NBA, You don't want to, it's not fun to do that. But you get a good mix of stars, you get a good mix of other guys, But very good challenge. I'm going to implement this every week. Just to parallel with the NFL reactions and predictions, And I think it's pretty fun. I lost already, and I think I got the lowest points up. But we'll do the results. Do the results on the next the next episode, it'll kind of be like a crossover because we do a lot of Wednesday games, and a couple of these games are on Thursday and Fridays. So of course, as we sit here, the Thursday games hadn't even started yet, you know. So on the next week, we're going to have the results as far as the reactions are concerned, and we're going to have the reactions from the picks. We're going to have the reactions from the 50-point challenge. Like I said, every week everybody's not going to chime in, but I'm going to definitely chime in. And so, you know, anyone of, you know, my friends that's going to chime in, we're going to throw them in there because it makes it fun. But coming up with the Chris Rocket Podcast, to close the show, we're going to go with NFL reactions and predictions. You're listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sue Murray, and I want to be your next governor. I know how to lead from the front. I used to be a school teacher. I know what's best for San Andreas. Many of our leaders aren't doing their homework or studying like they should. You're not living up to your full potential. I know how to use third-grade academic terms and talk down to a room of hyperactive, immature morons to get what I want. I can get things done. I'll make sure the 1% looks after the rest of us like they should. That you'll get what you deserve from people that work hard. Vote for me for governor.
Weasel News.
Bring your assault rifle to work day. Canceled.
A celebrity ghost is spooking guests at a local hotel.
Second Amendment activists and gun nuts were horrified after Bring Your Assault Rifle to Work Day was canceled. The annual Friday Jamboree, in which gun enthusiasts show high-caliber weaponry to coworkers, has been a hit for the past 5 years. Although last year, there were 109 deaths associated with the event. Lobbyists are already campaigning to bring back concealed handgun Thursdays in parts of the Midwest.
Movie news.
The famous Gentry Manor Hotel has been the site of many a celebrity overdose or adulterous romantic encounter since it opened in the 1920s. Many guests say that the hotel is haunted. Tourist Janine Swanson told us she was disappointed at her celebrity ghost encounter.
Please, celebrity ghosts are just as boring as the real live ones. They just roam around erotically talking about themselves.
That was Weasel News.
Welcome back to the Chris Rocket Podcast. You know what time it is. Reactions. NFL reactions and predictions. Last week, I did great. 10-3, 77% pick percentage. I am up to 63% of the season. My third 10-win season. I'm so proud of myself. I've been improving over the past 4 weeks consistently. 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins. Let's make it 11 this week. Starting with the Thursday night game. Oh, by the way, the winner from last week was Z and Kill with an impressive 12-1 record. Z is like running away at the #1 spot. Shout out to Sean Zimmerman, man. Shout out to Joe Killmeyer, man. Putting in that work, man. 12-1, very impressive. Right behind them, you have the sneaky James Rogers, man. He always seems to be creeping ever so fucking slowly at 11-2. And who else had 11-2 record? I think, he was on the one with 11-2. You have a lot of people with a 10-3. Matt, Roy, Nisha, all with, and of course myself with a 10-3 record. Right behind them, you have Jay, you have Baez with a 9-4 record, and Mitch also had a 9-4 record. You have Punch with a 85 record, Baez 94, Tony 7-6, coming off that very impressive 13-2 record. But yeah, Kill and Z were the winners. First place last week, 12-1. Z has been picking at a 68% clip. That's impressive. 68%. That's like bookie type shit, man. So I'm gonna have to build up on that. Starting with tonight's game, the Bills and the Jets. I might have to switch this with the Bills acquiring Kelvin Benjamin, but I don't know, man. I got the Jets in this game because defensively, when you lose a guy like Marshall Darius, that puts a lot of pressure on your run defense. I'm going with the Jets. Despite the trade, I'm going with the Jets. Like I said, I go with my first mind. The Colts and the Houston Texans, you look at this game, man. The Texans lost Deshaun Watson. But I feel like the Texans might still pull it out. I have I would have switched this already, but I didn't. I'm still going with Houston because now the quarterbacks are even. No disrespect to Jacoby Brissett, but I feel like the quarterback play is even. I feel like that team, Tom Savage and DeAndre Hopkins, they have a very good connection. And in the preseason, I don't know if y'all remember, the preseason, Tom Savage threw to DeAndre Hopkins regularly. I think the guy who takes the biggest hit on statistics is probably Will Fuller. 13 catches and 7 touchdowns. Obviously one of his favorite targets down the field. So DeAndre Hopkins is going to get his catches. Will Will Fuller get his catches? We shall see though, but I got Houston in this game. Cincinnati at Jacksonville. I'm going to go with Jacksonville right here. I think that Leonard Fournette is going to come in and do some work against that Bengals defense. Going with Jacksonville. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I'm going with New Orleans. Jameis Winston, he said he feels good off their shoulder. I don't think so. I think he's going to struggle in this game. Going with the Saints, the Rams, and the Giants. I'm going with the Rams. Too much offense. The Jackrabbit is suspended, and definitely he's going to miss his game. So they're going to be shorthanded on that secondary. The Rams, they got a little bit of something going on that offense. I'm going with the Rams. The Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. I went with the Falcons before the Kelvin Benjamin trade, and now that the Carolina Panthers have traded Kelvin Benjamin, that gives me a much more reason to stay with this pick. The Falcons, I got them. The Denver Broncos and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Denver Broncos are starting Brock Osweiler in this game, and so the Eagles are going to take advantage of that statue back there. Trevor Siemian is he's more mobile, but he can't throw worth a damn. So, well, he probably got your shoulder injury, so I'll take that back. But Brock Osweiler, now that's mobile. Philadelphia gets at you with that front seven. I think they're going to overwhelm him. I got Philadelphia in this game. Baltimore at Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee, even though I'm kind of quite on the fence because Baltimore has found their running game with Alex Collins, and you know, we're going to talk about a grinded out game. I think Tennessee has a little bit more. Joe Flacco isn't what he used to be. I thought the speed demons at wide receiver would be a good thing, but when you have speed demons everywhere and none of them are possession receivers, that's going to be a problem with moving the chains. I'm going with Tennessee. Arizona at San Francisco. I think we have Drew Stanton going against CJ Beathard. I'm going to go with the veteran Arizona. Much more veteran team. Much more better defense. Going with Arizona. Washington at Seattle. Seattle is really getting better with their offensive game. The running game is still a question, but you know, we look at Washington, they have the same problems, but they're a little bit worse team. There's still thoughts about what is going on with Jordan Reed. That hamstring injury, how is it? With Jordan Reed at 60%, 70%, that's not going to cut it. I'm going to go with Seattle. Kansas City at Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott will not play in this game, barring something crazy that happened this week. His suspension starts this game. They did file for an injunction or an appeal, and they're going to see if they can file the injunction in that appeal. So as of right now, I'm going with Dallas. But I'm going with Dallas with or without Zeke. And I found some weaknesses in that Kansas City offense, but I'm going to go with Dallas. And the only person to go with Dallas so far is Jay. Everybody else has picked the Chiefs, as rightfully so. And of course, it's going against everything I said. I said I'm going to pick the Chiefs until they show me otherwise. I'm going with the Cowboys in this game. Call me crazy, but I'm going to stick with them. Oakland at Miami in the Sunday night game. I'm going with Oakland. I really got to see how this Miami team looks without Jay Ajayi. I haven't seen much of Kenyon Drake. He only had 14 touches this year. So I really got to see how they're going to play him, how they're going to utilize him. He's a bigger guy, 6 foot running back. I got to see how they're going to play him. I'm going with Oakland. And on the Monday night game, we got the NFC North matchup of Detroit and Green Bay. I'm going with Detroit. The only people to go to Green Bay this week is Jay and Keel. Interesting to see how they look at how they go with this game. But I'm going to go with Detroit. Much more firepower on offense. Of course, the better quarterback. And you kind of know what to expect. Even though Brett Hundley is getting better. That running game is getting much more better. But they got to show me one more week before I get confident in the Green Bay Packers. So hopefully I do much better this week. I'm getting better. 10 wins last week. Let's make it 11. We're flying through almost halfway through the season. On the next episode of Chris Rocket Podcast, we're gonna do like the MVP. What is your mid-season MVP? We're gonna do much of the same as we did. Anything else that goes on, we're gonna touch on that. But we're definitely gonna open the show next week with our mid-season awards for the NFL. I'd like to thank you guys for listening to my podcast. Getting better every day. Much more content. As you can see, I implemented some sports radio up in here. You can listen to Bull and Fox on 92.3 The Fan. I think it's from 1 to 5 Eastern Time, or probably 2 to 6 Eastern Time, 1 to 5 because I'm in the Central Time Zone. 2 to 6 Eastern, 2 to 7 Eastern Time. Very good show. Go check those guys out. Radio.com app or the TuneIn app. Go listen to them, CBS app, whatever you got. Very good show. You've been listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast. Hope you guys have a great week. And as of right now, the internet is down. I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but today is Thursday, so if I uploaded it Friday, you already know why. But thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. You have been listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast. See you.